Hello, everyone. Good morning and good evening. So, welcome to the DevOps demo session today. Let me share my screen and let's start it. Just confirm me once you are able to see my screen. Is my screen up?
Yes.
Okay. So, welcome to the demo session of DevOps course. First, I would like to introduce myself. So I have done my master's in computer science, and I have overall 6+ years of experience in DevOps tools and AWS and Azure cloud platforms. And I have worked on various DevOps tools in these 6 years, and I am very much passionate about teaching, so that I have trained a number of students successfully as of now. And I have designed this course in a well structured way so that I will be focusing on the real time scenarios, and I will be including the problem solving techniques while taking the tools course itself. And I will be including the troubleshooting techniques in the course, and for each and every tool we must be facing some issues, and for that we will be including the troubleshooting techniques for that, so that it will be easy for the candidates to work on real time. So accordingly, I have designed the course, and I'm pretty much confident that once the candidates are done with this course, they will be all set to handle the real-time DevOps projects. So that's how I have designed, and this is about myself. And let's move to the next session. Before that, the agenda of this demo session is that to make everyone understand what's the purpose of the DevOps, because this is the DevOps course, and the definition and the basic understanding of the DevOps we will be going through in this demo session. And also we will be seeing the content of the course, and we will be seeing the projects, what are the projects that are included in this course, and under each project what are the tools that we are going to include, and how we are going to be beneficial out of this course, and what are the highlights of this course. Everything we are going to go through now in the slides. So accordingly, let's move to the next slide. So before understanding what is DevOps, we need to understand the basic topic, which is a SDLC. That is nothing but a software development life cycle. So if we are able to understand the software development life cycle, then it is easy for us to understand the DevOps and how we are going to start our DevOps implementation in the software development life cycle. We will be able to understand easily. So let me start with explaining this SDLC now. So SDLC is something which will be having a couple of steps, which will be in sequence, that every IT industry will have to follow in order. That means it will be starting from the requirement analysis step, and every organization has to follow in sequence, one after one, all the steps. And it continues the cycle until we provide the ultimate product to the customer. So let me take an example and explain you one by one each step. First of all, whenever we get a requirement from the customer, we will be analyzing that requirement. Like, let's say it could be any web application or iOS, Android applications. So, based on that requirement provided by the client to the organization, to the team, so they will be working together by analyzing the requirement. Once the analysis is done, they will be moving further to defining stage, which is nothing but a defining the plan of that project. They will be taking it as a project, and they will be defining that, like, what needs to be done in further steps, like what is the coding programming language that needs to be taken to give this final product to the customer. Based on their requirement, they will decide which programming language they have to take. And once that is decided, and what are the tools needs to be involved, what methodologies, what techniques have to be incorporated in the project, and everything will be defined in this plan itself. Once the plan is designed, then it will be moved to the designing stage. That means it will be containing an architecture of the project, complete project. We can also say it as a blueprint of the project. That means all the tools that is decided in the prior step will be mentioned in a visualized way. That means in the architecture diagram itself, they will be mentioning all the tools, what is the team structure, team size, and what methodologies they follow. Every workflow will be designed in a design and put it as a diagram. That is called the blueprint or an architecture. So by seeing that architecture itself, the team members, whoever works in that particular organization or a particular project, they will be coming to know that what needs to be performed in the next steps, and what tools will be involved in the next steps will be will they will have a brief idea about the project by seeing this design. So that is all about this designing stage, and they will be moving further to the coding stage, in which the developers will be working in the coding stage. They will be working on the project. That means like they will be building the application, the requirement whatever comes to them, they will be building that application using any one of the programming languages, let's say Java, Python, .NET and all. They will be building that code. So that code has to ultimately give the final product or the final application by building that code. So they will be in this stage, they will be just developing it. Once developing and building the code, once the built code is available in this stage, it will be moved further to the testing stage. Okay, in the testing stage, the testers will confirm whether the outcome of this coding is working as expected or as per the requirement or not. If at all that is satisfied result is come, and they are confirming that it is okay, then it will be moved to the deployment stage, wherein it will have the desired environments in it. On the desired environments, the design environments which I am referring to is like it could be servers, containers, all this. What they do is they will be hosting the application. That means whatever that we are referring to, the product, that product will be hosted in the deployment stage. That means in the desired environments. Let's say it is a production environments, we say in our DevOps terminology. If it is internal deployment, then it would be like a QA, UAT environments. We will further discuss about the deployment stages and all. But meanwhile, you just remember the servers are like which are hosting the application or hosting the required product, the ultimate product in that environments. So that in that environments, by this stage, deployment stage, they will be deploying the application. That means whatever the built code onto those environments. So that will be performed in this deployment stage. Once the deployment is done, it is all set to access that application by end users. Okay. So once it is accessible, it will be continuously maintained in this maintenance stage. That means it could be maintenance or monitoring. What it does is it will be continuously monitoring the system or the server that I have mentioned on which the application is hosted, right? So it will be monitoring that system, whether it is available, whether it is healthy, whether the application which is hosting on that server is continuously up and running or not. If at all any availability issue has come, then it will be notifying to the team, so that the team will continue working on the failed servers or failed applications, and they will fix the issues, and they will again push that latest version of the code to testing, and again it continues. So this sequence will continues until the final product is given to the client, and the client is satisfied with the latest version of the software. Till then it will be continued this cycle. So let's say, take an example that we have already built one code and we have pushed it to the environment, as I've mentioned, and that is the version 1, let's say. And again the client has come up with new features of that software. He or she wanted to add new few more features on the software, means that will be like considered as a version 2. So version 2 features will be again goes to the development stage. The developers will continue working on the new features of the software, and they will be pushing it to the testing again, and it go to the deployment as a version 2. And the version 2 will be the latest deployment in the servers, and that will be hosted and accessible by the end users, and they will be again verifying that according to their requirement, and that again be maintained and monitored in this stage continuously. So that's how it continues, and that is all about the software development life cycle. So this is following the waterfall methodology. This is the older methodology. That means these days everybody has shifted to the DevOps, that is Agile methodology, which we are going to discuss in the next slide. But meanwhile, this software life cycle, which I have explained, is comes under the older methodology, which is called the waterfall methodology. That means waterfall methodology is nothing but every stage is waiting for the prior or earlier stage to accomplish the steps, and then it will move to the next step. But before actually finishing the prior step, it will not proceed with the next step. That means it will be going one after one in sequential way. Okay. So that is called the waterfall methodology. And once we move to the DevOps understanding, once we understand about the DevOps concepts and how we are going to implement it in the software development life cycle, then we will again come to this SDLC and try to understand what's the difference between the older version of the SDLC and after implementing the DevOps SDLC. We will understand the difference and what are, by implementing the DevOps, how this is beneficial. SDLC is beneficial, and why the industries are adopting the DevOps implementation instead of using the old waterfall methodology, older one. Why they are moving, we will be able to understand by this next slide. As of now, any queries?
No.
Okay, thank you. So let me move to the next slide. So that is DevOps, which is a combination of two different stages or phases or teams, you can say. You can see it in the diagram like dev plus ops. The name itself has those two names divided as dev and ops. That means the development part and the operations part. So in SDLC, these stages will be divided as a development part and the operations part. So I will be showing it you in this diagram also. Whatever the stages that we have discussed in earlier slide, that is planning, first they will be getting the requirement and then they will plan it and they will move it to the coding stage, and then once the code is done it will be built, and then it will move to the testing stage. Then release means the latest version will be released after testing. That means approving that version. Once it is tested and it is and they are satisfied with that changes, it will be approved as a release. That means the version 1, version 2, we can say. So that will be moved to the deployment, and then operations team will be working on maintenance, monitoring and all. So this flow is same as SDLC only. Only thing is that we are implementing the DevOps practices on top of the SDLC. The main structure of the software development will remain same. Only thing is that we are going to implement it. So that's why the same phases are there, but it is showing in a loop form. That means there will be a continuous integration and continuous delivery or deployment, we say, and continuous monitoring, continuous testing, continuous release, we can say. That will be happened only by the DevOps practices. That means by implementing the DevOps tools in the software development life cycle, it is possible for any organization to do continuous integration and delivery. So that's the main difference between the normal SDLC and implementing the DevOps onto it. So why it is divided into two parts is planning, coding, build and testing will comes under the DevOps, development part. That means developers will be working on building, testing part, and then it will be further moved to the operations team. They will take care of maintaining the releases of the every, I mean, they will maintaining in the sense that track, listing out the every version one by one. Like in CI/CD pipelines, when we actually get into the CI/CD pipelines, we will be able to understand how these releases will be listed out one by one. Okay. After that it will be move, the operations team will take care of the deployment and they will take care of monitoring. Operations, here operations means they will be working on maintaining the systems health, system server availability, applications availability, whether it is up and running or not, or it is down, or due to any issue, any code breakage, whether it is down, everything will be monitored by the operation stage, and that will be notified to the relevant teams. There are multiple teams in the project, right? The developers team, testers team, the DevOps team. So based on the issue, or based on the issue which is raised in any specific stage, it will be notified to that particular or specific team only. Let's say the issue is because of the code, then it will be notified to the developers. And if issue is because of the deployment, in deployment stage, if the issue occurs, then it will be notified to the DevOps team. So it will be possible by the automation scripts, which will be again created by the DevOps team, and which will be comes under the DevOps practices and DevOps tools only. So as we are implementing the automation scripts in each stage, so every stage is automated and it is continuously providing the integration of the code and continuously delivering the code, so that the deployment will not stop anywhere, and the applications will not go down at any time. Even if it goes down also within less time, as the automation scripts will notify the relevant teams on that issues. There will be any queries. Can any I mean, I think I'm getting some background noise. Can someone mute the? Yeah. So yeah, it will be notifying the teams, right? So based on that, they will respond and they will make the application up immediately. So within no time, it will be up and running. So that's the advantage of the DevOps. And definition, if we want to see the definition of the DevOps, is like it is combining the two teams, that is development phase and the operations phase, combining and making sure the two teams are always collaborating with each other, and they are always transparent with each other, and they communicate, so that there will be a continuous feedback provides to the team. If anything goes wrong here, that feedback will goes immediately to the developer, and they will start working on the breakage, so that it will be immediately resolves the issues. And the delivery of the deployment is also will be very fast, because I have mentioned that each stage in the SDLC will go sequentially, right, step by step. But when it comes to DevOps, these stages are same, but they will not go in sequence. I mean, in the sequence only, but it will not wait for the earlier step to finish. Let's say the code is done. In the SDLC older methodology, the code altogether treat as a single unit, and the developers will team will start working on it as a single unit only, and that is called the waterfall methodology. But when it comes to Agile methodology, the code will be splitting into the pieces, like it's they will be considering them as a feature 1, feature 2, feature 3, and they will divide them like that. And each developer will pick up their own features, and they will start working on it. And developer, let's say developer 1 will not wait for the developer 2. Once he is finished with with him his piece of code, he will be pushing it to the next stage without waiting for the another piece of code or another developer. And that will be verified and built, and that will be tested, and if everything is okay, looks fine, then it will be goes to the release and deploy that piece of code. Meanwhile, if anything other piece is ready, that will also again proceed further till the deployment, and it will continuously maintains and monitors. So that is called the parallel technique. The DevOps will put all these stages in parallel, and the flow will be like a parallel way only. Whenever the code is finished, then it will move further, it will not wait for the earlier. So that is all about the Agile methodology. The advantage of further it is like it will be a faster delivery of the deployment. There won't be any wait, right, in between, so it will be faster delivery. And also, if any issues comes in the middle of the phases, then it will be immediately, due to the continuous feedback in the scripts we have written, that will be immediately notifies the developers to concentrate or the address that particular issue, so that they will immediately react or respond to that issue, and they will fix the issue, and they will again push the latest changes to the testing. So that is a continuous feedbacks. Due to all these advantages, all these possibilities and flexibility that we made by using the automation scripting, which we can do, which we can write using the DevOps tools, we have come up with all these advanced key features in the SDLC. So let's discuss one by one. So let me finish the definition. Like, it is a combination of the dev plus ops, which will make sure that it will be transparent and communicate with each other by providing the continuous integration and delivery with high quality of the code. So that is all about the DevOps. Only thing is we are providing the high quality, without any wait time, without it will contain the cost efficiency also, because the tools and the automation scripts will not involve any manual intervention. That means human errors will avoid most of the time. Then that means indirectly we are saving the time and the money as well. So all these because of all these extra advantages by using this, we have come up with these features. Let's address these features one by one. Like we are having the faster delivery means, due to the DevOps, as it is accelerating the whole process very fastly, it is providing the faster delivery. Okay, that is all about this. And improved collaboration means, it means it is improving the collaboration between two teams. It will not be like isolated way, like just like in the older methodology. The teams will be isolated, there won't be any communication between them. Due to the lack of communication, there will be so many errors occurs in between the phases. But when it comes to DevOps, there will be a transparency, so that the collaboration is improved, and there are less chances to get the issues and errors. Okay. And higher quality code means, the as we have a continuous integration and continuous delivery, the code will be higher quality, because immediately, as I have mentioned, in the test stage or any release stage, if the code is there is a code breakage, at that time it will be pushed to the developer immediately by the notifications that we have enabled, and the developer will immediately fix the issue, and again delivers the or pushes the latest code, the fix which is fixed code will to the release. That means before actually entering into the deployment itself, it is resolved, the issue got resolved. So that means the quality of the code will be more higher comparatively with the older one, because the deployment failures will be reduced, as it is already resolved in the before steps itself. So that is all about this higher quality code. And increased efficiency means, so efficiency of the software development lifecycle will be increased because of the automation scripts. So manual intervention will be reduced, human errors will be reduced. That means indirectly we are increasing the efficiency of software development lifecycle, right? And it will be helping the whole team in the project in all terms. So coming to the next, enhanced reliability, that means we will be having a continuous monitoring in this step. After every version deployment, there will be a continuous monitoring. That means we are increasing or enhancing the reliability of the software, and reduced the downtime. So I have already mentioned that downtime will be reduced, because we will be continuously monitoring it, and if anything goes wrong and server is down or application is not running, at that time immediately this deployment stage will make sure that the older version of the software is deployed again. That means rolling back to the previous version. Let's say we have two versions. Version 1 is already saved, deployed. Again, the developer has come up with the new features, new requirement, and he has developed the code and pushed it to the deployment again. That is called the version 2, let's say. So version 2 is deployed now, and we are on the version 2 software. We are running the version 2 software, imagine. But version 2 software has is been running for 2 days, and third day the code due to some reasons it is broke, and the server and the application is not running, end user is unable to access that software, let's say. At that time what happens is, this deployment stage will be having some automation scripts, and script will be always continuously monitoring it, whether the server and application is running or not. If it notifies or identifies that the server is not up to the mark, at that time the deployment stage will take care of it, and it will roll back the previous version, that means version 1, so that it is making sure that the software, at least version 1, is running in the live environment. The end user is able to see at least version 1 software. Some features he is able to see, instead of just seeing that the server is down. It's better that having version 1 software at least in the live environment, right? So that will be happening. Meanwhile, this deployment automation script itself, along with rolling back to the version 1, it will also notify the developers or any relevant DevOps team to redeploy or rework on the code for the version 2 software. So the developers will immediately start working on the issues, and it will push again to the deployment. Once the deployment is up, the version 2 deployment is successful, then it will be come back with the version 2. So meanwhile, this rollback will save us to get rid of the downtime of the server, right? So that will happen. That is again a DevOps practice, best practice, which we can actually highlight that. So, because the major issue that we face in the real time is that the downtime of the application. So that we can avoid it by using the rollback concept. So that is reduced downtime one. And greater scalability, that means using the DevOps practices we can enable the auto scaling technique, which will be auto scale the servers based on the requirement. Like if at all any requirement comes up with the more traffic from the end users, at that time if it is demanding for the more servers, this auto scaling will be enabling the servers to up the servers. How many is required, based on that it will up the servers. So that is the best feature using this DevOps practices, that is auto scaling. Another one is the, sorry, improved customer satisfaction. So due to all these above features like faster delivery, collaboration, and all, the customer is always a happier customer if they adopt these DevOps practices. And cost efficiency, I have already mentioned, due to by using these automation scripts, we can always save the price by avoiding some extra usage of the storages and all. We can actually work on the networking concepts in future in the classes, so that we will be able to understand like how we can save the time and money by using these automation scripts. Like let's say I will take a small example, like we are using some ram 2 GB ram, let's say, or 4 GB ram, let's say. But using this automation scripts will be seeing that whether the services which we are running in real time are using 4 GB ram, or it is occupying only 2 GB ram. If it finds that it is requiring only 2 GB ram and it doesn't require 4 GB ram anymore, or at least for now temporarily it doesn't require any 4 GB ram, means it will be minimizing that storage. It will be automatically scaling down that storage, and whenever requires in future, then it will identifies it automatically by that script which is written by some conditions in it. It will be automatically scaling up those resources which are required for the services which are running on the particular environment. By that, the cost efficiency will be very much effectively works here in this DevOps practices. And the competitive advantages means, like in the market it will be very competitive, because it will stay in the first position due to all these extra advantages. Okay, so that is all about the DevOps and agile methodology and the key features of it. Now, if you have any queries on it, you can ask me. Otherwise, we can move to the next slide, which will be explaining how demand this DevOps is right now in the market, and how will it be in the future. Yeah, I hope no queries. So let me move to the next slide. So it's like a hot cake in the market nowadays, even expecting in the future as well. So let me just try to address all these points, like how we can identify or address the current demand of the DevOps in the market. So let's say like it's becoming like a game changer in modern development. This DevOps is, and why it is, because it helps the team work faster, as we have mentioned, and it will be with fewer glitches. That means with very few issues, the total SDLC will go smoothly, because there won't be any manual intervention much, and human errors will be avoided more. So due to that, it will be like having fewer glitches in the SDLC, and it is like cost effective, and you get to roll out the products quicker and smoother. That means the whatever the products that you are actually working on the project, that will be very quicker and the smoother without any failures using these practices. And which means like ultimately the customer will be happy, and they will be continuously collaborating with the organization or with the team to continuously maintain their product under the DevOps practices only. So that is an added advantage. And being a DevOps pro means you are not just specialized, you are also adaptable across different roles. So we are going to discuss what are the roles that will be available, that are available in the market right now. Being a DevOps engineer, you will not find the jobs only on the name of DevOps engineer. There are multiple roles available in the market. When you actually try to start finding your jobs on the DevOps domain, you will be getting to see many roles. Like there are many number of names available. In the next slide, we are going to discuss about each and every role, all the possible roles. I will be explaining you under each role what are the tools are included, and whether we are going through all the tools or not in this whole course. We are going to see in the next slide. So what I meant is the role means like DevOps engineer, you may find, or release engineer, or CI/CD engineer, or SRE engineer. All these are the roles. And once you are done with this course, you will be able to find, you will be able to fit into any one of these roles, because we are going to cover all the possible tools which will be applicable for all the roles that I am going to mention. So you can fit in any kind of roles in the market. So that we are going to see in the next slide. And apart of that, this I mean, the roles that I'm mentioning, that brings you a job security, because uh, learning only few tools, or sticking to only one technology, means you will be missing out so many calls when you are actually looking for the job. But if you learn all the possible tools which I have designed in this course, you will not miss out any calls. And that will be like a great opportunity for you to keep be in a job secured mode. Okay, so that is what I meant. And you can have a competitive salaries as well. And it's not just about the technology, like it will be like a continuous learning. So you'll have a continuous learning out of it. Like you will learn how to continuously look for the tools which are adding on the DevOps domain. Because going further, maybe the purpose and the purpose of the usage, and the ultimate goal will be same, it remains same. But the altered tools will come up always in the market, and you will be in a position to adapt them easily, very quickly. Within one day also, you'll be able to understand the new upcoming tool also once you're done with this course. Because the purpose will remain same, and you will get out of this course, you will get a best idea to how to manage the new tools, how to adapt them easily, how to troubleshoot the issues, how to learn them easily step by step. So all these techniques you will get in this whole course, and you'll get used to it actually to learn. So that is the main advantage of this course. And coming to the global reach, which is nothing but like you will not stick, I mean, there is no limitation at one place. It could be like anywhere, because DevOps is actually in demand. And worldwide there are so many job opportunities. You can go anywhere, you can do your remote jobs from anywhere. Okay, so that is an added advantage. And in future also, this will be extended, this DevOps. Like even you are seeing now all these bots are coming very effectively in the market, like chat gpt, you can see artificial, all with the artificial intelligence, machine learning and all, right? Even DevOps is also extending this key features with collaborating with the artificial intelligence and machine learning tools as well. So we can easily realize that in future also there is a lot of opportunities for the DevOps. By collaborating with this artificial intelligence, machine learning, we can say that machine learning with the, by mentioning it as a ML ops, that means DevOps is extending as a ML ops, wherein it will be using the machine learning techniques. And so there would be a lot of projects which will be coming for the DevOps engineers to work on in uh, for many more years in future, I can say. So that's why I can say it as a hot cake in the market, and it will be continued. Okay. Okay, let's move to the next slide, which we are going to identify this DevOps, where when it is evolved, what's the origin of the DevOps. And as I mentioned, like we will be looking into the roles, which are possible roles in the DevOps domain for a DevOps engineer, and what are the tools involved in it, the sample tools we can say. and industries which are currently adopting the DevOps we can see, and what are the prerequisites that you must have before actually getting into this DevOps course. Don't worry, I will be explaining that. And yeah, we will be looking into each and every line. First of all, we'll start with evolution. It is evolved in the late 2000s, the DevOps is. And now we will be trying to, it is evolved from the Agile methodology, as I've mentioned. Okay, that is all about this evolution. And coming to the roles and responsibilities, let me move to the next slide, which has got the roles and the tools which are involved in each role. Okay, so this is the slide which has the possible roles that we can see in the market, like when you are actually looking for the job. Let's say we have a DevOps engineer role, we have release manager, and so on. Let me explain you very quickly like what this DevOps engineer role will do, and that means what are the responsibilities and what are the possible tools that we work being as a DevOps engineer, and what are the possible tools the release manager will work on. So let's go on one by one. Okay, so the DevOps engineer means this role will be involving by overseeing the entire software development lifecycle. That means from the code integration to the deployment, he or she will take care. So the tools will be like a Jenkins, Git, Docker, Kubernetes, Ansible, Terraform, Nagios. So these are the alternative tools of the Ansible, so we can ignore them. So that means to be a DevOps engineer, all these tools which I have mentioned in this slide for this role is included in our course. So you can become a DevOps engineer. After this, release manager. So the release manager role will be like so he will be taking care or responsible for planning and scheduling the whole movement of the software through various environments, like environments I said, like the production environments, pre-production environments. So they will be taking care of the or responsible for the deployments on each environment. So the deployments will be definitely comes under the CI/CD tools like Jenkins, Azure DevOps, Git, Docker, and all. So these are also covered. So most of the tools are like similar only in every role. Few of them will differ based on the role. That's it. Automation engineer means the automation for testing they will be actually considering for automation engineer. So testing tools will be like Selenium and all. So Selenium test cases will be anyways provided by by the testers, and that will be automated by the automation engineer or the DevOps engineer. What he will do is he will be writing some pipelines which will be taking care of automating those test cases to run them whenever it is required in the total SDLC and provide the results. So those pipelines they will be taking care of. And continuous integration and continuous CI/CD means it is similarly as a DevOps engineer only. They will be taking care of CI/CD tools and all. And site reliability engineer, that means SRE engineer, who will be continuously monitoring the servers and the applications. That will be in the last stage. So the monitoring tools are like the Prometheus, Grafana for uh, Kubernetes especially, and ELK, which is for the log analysis tool, which will be taking care of the logs and all, which will be generated by the servers. And the New Relic is another monitoring tool, same like a Prometheus and Grafana. It will be used for Kubernetes also, and different deployment servers as well, like web apps and all, which we will be going through in the Azure when we are dealing with the Azure DevOps and CI/CD pipeline in the Azure DevOps. We'll be seeing the web apps which will be hosting the application that will be monitored by the New Relic. So all you just remember, don't try to keep everything in the mind right now. So I'm just trying to tell you that these are the tools which comes under SRE. Again, we will go through one after one, like every tool. At that time you will be easily able to grasp everything. Okay. And cloud engineer means especially they will work on the cloud services, like if it is AWS, Azure, GCP, whatever it is, based on that organization usage, they will be working on the cloud services. And containerization means especially they work on the Docker, Kubernetes, Helm deployments, because Docker is a containerization tool. They will, and the deployments will take on work on, sorry, deploy on the containers as a containers. So this engineer will be working on the deployments using this Docker, Kubernetes, Helm tools. Okay, security engineer means one second, sorry. Security engineer will be like comes under the DevSecOps tools. That means the major tool under the DevSecOps that we are going to include in our course is the Sonar Cube. So that means it will be covering the code. It's like a code coverage, whether the code is healthy, everything is perfect with the code, or any bugs, any issues with the code, everything will be analyzed by the Sonar Cube tool. So that is for the security purpose, because any vulnerabilities are there at the code level, and everything will be analyzed by the Sonar Cube only. So that means indirectly it is securing the code for the organization. So that's why it is called as a DevSecOps tool, and which will be applicable for the security engineer. And infrastructure as code engineer means Terraform is one of the infrastructure as a code tool. That means which will be provisioning the services on the cloud. It is worked on many cloud platforms like AWS, Azure, GCP, and so on. So in our course, we are going to implement this Terraform on the Azure cloud. That means Azure services, as I mentioned here, cloud engineer is working on the Azure services that could be manually or using the Terraform also. Okay, the manual way we can get into the dashboard or the portal of the Azure. We can create our own service in resources inside that. But using this Terraform code, that is automated script, we can create or provision the services in the cloud. Okay. Monitoring and logging engineering. That means they will be working with the Prometheus and Grafana tools only, like to monitor the system and applications. And database administrator means he will be or she will be dealing with the microservice, sorry, MySQL database, or whatever the database that is actually using in that particular project will be created by this engineer, and that will be managed and updated by the Liquibase tool. So we will be including the Liquibase tool in our course. So Liquibase will be actually working on behalf of the MySQL. I mean, instead of updating the MySQL server directly by getting into it, we will be managing that server, DB server, using this Liquibase. Okay. So we will be covering all these tools. All these tools means alternative tools. Um, and so that we are making sure that we are covering all the roles, so that we will not miss out any calls in the when you are looking for the job. So that's the agenda. Okay. Now let's get back to the previous slide, which is here we are now, like we are done with the roles and responsibilities. Next, industries which are adopting the DevOps. So what are the industries these days are adopting this DevOps is like IT industries, and e-commerce and retail industries also very rigorously I mean, using this or adopting this DevOps, and finance and banking industries are using it, and healthcare and telecommunication and so on. So can you mute yourself, someone? I can hear some noise, background noise. Okay. So these are the industries that we can see. I mean, we are seeing these days like adopting the DevOps practices. And coming to the prerequisites, we are we have to have some prerequisites for sure to learn the basics to go to the DevOps tools. But what are those means? I will mention few of them. That is basics understanding of the Linux and Unix operating systems. Just like the Windows operating system, we will have the Linux operating system, which we can install, we can launch in our systems, and we can use them. But we should be having that basic understanding of that Linux servers. Also we should be having the networking concepts, like what are the port numbers, why do we need them, what is protocol, what is the proxies, reverse proxies, firewalls, network, all the networking which should be attached to the servers. We need to know, we need to understand the concepts of them, like DNS, what is the DNS, domain names and all. And bash scripting or any scripting language. In our case, we are learning the bash scripting, that is a shell scripting, we can say. We should be having that prerequisite as well. So but we no need to worry, because all these prerequisites we are going to cover in this course itself. Like we will be starting from the scratch. We will be starting from Linux servers, understanding them, trying to practice all the commands, possible commands, which will be used by the DevOps engineers or the roles that I have mentioned. All those who I mean, all the possible commands that are going to be used on the operating systems, Linux operating systems, we are going to cover, and we are going to cover the scripting concepts. We are going to cover the networking concepts that I have mentioned. So after finishing all these basics, we will be moving further to the advanced DevOps concepts, so that we no need to come here along with the prerequisites already having the knowledge about them. We can directly come here without any knowledge. We just start from the scratch. That's what I meant. And coming to the coding knowledge in the DevOps means we don't need any coding language to become a DevOps engineer. We will be definitely collaborating with the developers team. Being as a DevOps engineer, we will be communicating with the developers, and we will be communicating with the testers, operations team, everybody. But we don't need to it doesn't mean that we need to know the knowledge of the coding and all. We don't require anything. Only thing is that we will be talking to them. That we will I will try to explain you in the project exactly when you actually enter into the project, how we will deal with the developers or the testers team, and how what are the limitations of the knowledge, till what we will be dealing with them, and how we will be getting the data from them, and how we are going to perform our tasks based on their input. All this we will discuss in the course. But I'm confidently saying that we don't require any coding knowledge at all. Okay. And coming to the salary range means it will be definitely high, because it is more demand. There is more demand in market, and it is very competitive, and we are dealing with multiple tools in this course. Means that is we are getting more opportunities. We will not miss out any calls, and based on our demand we can um, negotiate our salaries, and it will be very high. Okay, the career would be very promising, that I can say. And certification suggested means these are not mandatory. We can still promote ourselves, but if if anybody is interested, they can definitely um, I mean, take these certifications like AZ 900. That means cloud association certificates. It could be Azure, it could be AWS, or any cloud. Because we are learning AWS and Azure, we can take these associate certifications. That is well and good actually. It will be giving some weightage to your profile. Okay, but those are not mandatory. Yeah, yeah, till there we have understood what is DevOps, what's the concept, and how demand it is in the market now these days, and how would it be in the future. And we have seen the evolution of it, and we have seen all the I mean, important points of the DevOps, right? Like, now let's see, because we have already seen what is SDLC and what is DevOps. Now we will try to understand how this SDLC is before and after DevOps. Okay. How this DevOps is incorporated with the SDLC concept, and how it is giving an added advantage to the software development lifecycle. Let's see by this slide. So here, before DevOps, the SDLC is like a sequential process. That means every step is going one after one, and it is waiting for the previous step to finish. So that is a sequential process. That means it is definitely taking longer time to release. So when it comes to DevOps, it is continuously integration and continuous deployment. That means each and every piece of the code will be delivered immediately without waiting for the other piece to complete. So that is a continuous integration and deployment. That's the main difference. And another one is the manual hands off. Here in SDLC, there won't be any automation. Everything will be done manually. Even deployments, testing, everything will be done manually. So there would be definitely chances of human errors occurs and issues occurs and everything, right? But when it comes to the DevOps, it is automated. Everything, all tasks like testing, deployment, monitoring, everything is automated. Using the scripting languages, we automate it. Using some DevOps tools like CI/CD tools, pipelines, and everything, we automate it. And we make everything, all the tasks automatically done by its own without any manual intervention. That is one more advantage. And the longer release cycles, this is a shorter release cycles, which I have already mentioned. And The collaboration and the communication in the DevOps is pretty much good. When it comes compared to the SDLC, there will be isolated teams, and there won't be a possibility to be transparent between each team. So that is a disadvantage here. When it comes to DevOps, it is collaboration and communication between each teams, and there is a limited collaboration here. Because of that, there won't be any feedback provided to the other team. Let's say there is some issue comes up, and that feedback will not be able to directly send to the other teams in the SDLC. It will take more time to actually provide that feedback. That means, like, after deployment, after any breakage of the application, then only the teams will get to know that something is happened wrong in the whole process, and they have to identify it one by one by seeing, looking into the each step and identify what happened and where it happened, why it happened. Everything will be like, it takes more time. When it comes to DevOps, due to this feedback concept, like, it will be notified to the team very immediately in the same phase itself, so that the team will know, like, in which stage it got failed and what is the reason, what's the purpose. Everything will be knowing to the team by the team very effectively, because of the transparency. Okay, that's the differences between the waterfall methodology, agile methodology, or we can say the SDLC before and after DevOps. Okay, so that is all about these differences. Any queries as of now? I would like to mention one achievement. Like, recently, one of my students have has got a job. Like, she has got package like 25 LPA, and her experience is 5+ years in DevOps. She has moved, not in DevOps actually. She got a training, and before that, she was into IT industry in a different domain. She was a developer. After that, she moved to the DevOps, and she got 25 LPA in one of the MNCs. So if we don't have any questions, we will move to the next slide, which is, we are going to look into the syllabus that we are going to cover in this whole course, and we are also going to look into the workflow. That means, like, what are the tools under each phase, what are the tools that I have added in the course, and how these tools are aligned in which way, and how from where to where we are going to deal with, like, which from which tool or which phase that we are going to start this course, and what are the projects that we are going to deal with, and under which project which tool is coming. All these we are going to see in the workflow which I have designed. I am going to open them. First, I will be discussing or looking into the syllabus first, and then I will be covering the workflow. Okay, let me open this link. I think I have already opened it. So these are the tools which we are going to cover, if you are able to recall the slide, which is for the roles and responsibilities and the tools involved in that roles and responsibilities. If you are able to recall that, you'll be able to easily identify these tools, right? Like, we have seen the Git, Maven, Ansible, Terraform, all these are covered in those roles. So let me actually get into them in deep, like, little bit more in a detailed way, so that I can easily explain you, like, what are we trying to cover in this whole course, and what is our agenda. You'll be getting to know. So under Linux, as I mentioned, this would be the first prerequisite for this course. We are going to cover the operating system, what is Linux operating system, how it is evolved, and everything. We are going to understand the history of the Linux, and then we will see all the possible commands that we need to cover, and we will see how we can edit the files using the editors. These we are going to cover. Along with this, there would be lots of concepts which I am going to share the documents along with the tools itself. That means, for after every class, after every after finishing the every tool, I am going to provide you the documentations which will be having all the concepts, the required concepts which we have already discussed in the class. I'm going to provide with step by step process. Like, it will be starting with the definition of each tool, what's the purpose, what is the use case, what are the steps to install them, what are the configuration steps to perform, and how we can implement it in the pipelines, how what are the question and answers for those each and every topic for the interview oriented. All this will be covered in the documentation in very simple way. Like by seeing the documentation itself, you can easily I mean, after going through the or after attending the class, by if you're able to open the documentation, you'll be easily able to understand the steps and practice on your own, and you can crack the any interview by just going through the documentation even after the course as well. That's how it would be, that the documentation itself is designed like that. Like you no need to refer to any other outside content, or you no need to browse for any other contents like for advanced concepts or nothing. All, I mean, how the interviews are going on, based on that observation, I have designed the documentation by covering all the possible topics in a simple way, very understandable way it will be. And in that topics, along with the question and answers I have provided and the steps to practice, so by just that documentation, you can easily crack the interview. So yeah, that will be parallelly provided. That's an advantage. Again, not at at the end of the course, you will be provided the documentations along with the course, like parallelly after every class. So that's another advantage. And yeah, coming back to this content, so we are going to cover the networking concepts as well. And we are going to cover the scripting. Till here we will be able to finish the prerequisites of it. And we will be seeing the AML files, that means which are the one of the file formats. These are very important file formats for the DevOps engineers. Like it will be included in the CI/CD pipelines. It will be included in the Ansible, in the Kubernetes. Everything will be in the same format only, YAML files. So I will be explaining you in a detailed manner, like how the structure is designed for the YAML files and how it is created in based on our requirement. We will be discussing. Okay, we will be discussing the web servers, which will be like deploying for deployment applications, and hosting the applications by using the web servers only. We will be hosting it, so we are going to deal with that also. And I'm sorry. So we were going to discuss what is Agile again, um, and what is software development lifecycle, testing types, and what are the applications available, like types of the applications. Let's say like there will be single unit applications, or it will be like monolithic, we can say. And when it comes to microservices, so differences between them and how team is actually designing the microservices and all, we will discuss. And we will see CI/CD environments, sorry, CI/CD pipelines and environments. What are the environments in the whole project, and deployment times types we will discuss. And we will see the Amazon Web Services, that means AWS services, we will be covering here. We will be covering Azure services. We will be covering Jenkins CI/CD pipeline. Also, we will be covering the Azure Devops CI/CD pipeline. We are not just dealing with the single CI/CD pipeline here in this course. We are covering two Jenkins and Azure DevOps, two CI/CD pipelines, so that we can place our profile or divide our profile into two different or three different projects based on this course itself. Like one course, one project, you can say that you are working on the Jenkins CI/CD pipeline. Another project, you can say like you have worked on the Azure DevOps CI/CD pipeline or something like that. You can divide. Okay. And you will be dealing with the Git concepts and GitHub repository, we can see, and building tool Maven. Along with that, we will be seeing the NPM also. That is another build tool for the .NET. And we will be seeing Ansible concepts, Terraform concepts, Docker, Kubernetes, Helm also for deployment purpose as a containers. So applications which can be deployed on multiple platforms. One of the platforms that I have mentioned is the web server, which is a Tomcat server. Also, we can host those applications as a containers also using this Docker, Kubernetes, and Helm concepts. And SonarQube is a code coverage tool, which is for security purpose. We will be covering that integration also. We will be covering Selenium test cases automation pipeline. We will be covering the New Relic, which is a monitoring tool. We will be covering the DB creation and Liquibase integration to update the DB. And for all these tools, how we are going to cover them? By collaborating with the projects, right? So these projects I have divided into four. One is the Java web app deployment that will be comes under the Azure Devops CI/CD pipeline. So in this, we are going to deploy a Java source code onto web apps platform. Web apps is a service in the Azure portal. So we will be again seeing it in looking into it in deep later. And EK is Java deployment. That means Kubernetes cluster. We will be creating it and we will be deploying the Java application onto that Kubernetes cluster and we will see how it is running. And another project I am taking it as a Jenkins CI/CD pipeline. Here I am creating two separate pipelines. One is for the Tomcat deployment, that means a web server that I have mentioned. Another one is the container deployment, that is by using the Docker. And fourth project will be like a Terraform project. Here the Terraform project will be like provisioning the Azure services. I am dealing with the Azure services using this Terraform. So we will be creating the pipeline of the Terraform in the Azure DevOps, and we will be provisioning the Azure services using the Terraform scripts. So these are the four projects I have divided, and under each project, we will be dealing with the tools that I have mentioned. Along with that, we will be seeing like how the purpose and the usage of each concept of the tools. Then only we will integrate it in the project, and we will see how we can automate them. Okay, one by one, step by step, we will go. So that is all about the syllabus. Now coming to the workflow, this is the workflow that I have designed for this particular course. So here, as I have mentioned, we have four projects. One is the Docker and Tomcat deployment onto using the Jenkins CI/CD pipeline. The other one is the Azure DevOps CI/CD pipeline deploying the Java application onto web app service. And third one is the Terraform deployment to provision the Azure services. And individual deployments means like small tools will be there, like we will be discussing them, we will be deploying it manually and trying to understand the overall concept of it before actually integrating them in the CI/CD pipelines. Okay, so we are dealing with it separately. Okay, so how we are going to see them in this diagram is, first of all, whatever must be the concept or whatever might be the requirement, we will be working it on the cloud only. Like the servers will be always cloud, whether it is AWS cloud or Azure cloud. We are going to work under the cloud only. Like servers, let's say we will be creating in the AWS, and we are going to work on these tools on these AWS servers only, let's say. So that's why I kept it in the top. So first we will be working on the cloud servers. We will be provisioning them either by manually or by the Terraform. And once the provision is done, the server is ready here, let's say. I'm just taking it as an example and trying to explain you like how the workflow would be. So we are taking a server and the server is here. The server networking should be there, right? Like it should be attached to all the networking components to that server. Like just having a single room is okay for you, or having a room with all the furnitures like fridge or sorry, the sofa and everything, just like that. Like having a single room will not make any difference for a human being to stay in it, right? Same way, for an application to run on that particular operating system, there should be some components to be attached to that. Those are the networking components. So that will be, we will be attaching them. It could be manually we will attach, or we will be attaching it using the or configuring it using the operating system configuration by the Ansible. Ansible is something, using the cloud Terraform, using the Terraform we are provisioning the cloud services, but using the Ansible, we are configuring the services, or the servers inside. That means by provisioning the server in the AWS by Terraform, we are having a single unit of the operating system. But inside that operating system, we should have some components, some softwares to run to support our application. There should be some configurations to be performed, right? That configurations will be done by Ansible. That means configuration management tool. So either if it is a single server, we can deal it with manually, like we can configure it manually. But if there are, like, let's imagine in the big project, if we have multiple servers, like hundreds of servers, how can we actually get into each server and we configure everything? We cannot do it, right? Like there will be a lack of resources in the project. it cannot be possible actually practically if we think. So Ansible will be connecting to those all hundreds of servers, and with a single click of the Ansible file, or it is in the YAML format only, that file. So by the single click of that file, we it will be configuring all the servers at a time. So that's the advantage of the Ansible. So we are connecting the networking components to operating systems and configuring them in the using the Ansible only. So this is that part. So once we are ready with our servers, with all the configuration, what we do, we will be practicing our DevOps onto those servers, right? How do we practice them? By SDLC, software development lifecycle only. Under that only we have all the phases like development phase, coding, quality analysis, that means sonar cube, security purpose. Then it will be building the code, and then we are after building the code, there is a concept called the Docker, which will be building the image, that we will look into that later part of this course. But now just remember there is another stage here, and then the deployment stage, then the testing stage if you remember, and then monitoring stage. So you have, I think we have, you have remembered, you are able to recall of all of them, right? Like when you see that slide, SDLC slide. So all these stages, under each stage I have divided the tools like which are possible under each stage. So developers under development stage will be working on these tools, like they will be integrating the DB, that is database, to their code, and they will be working on the GitHub repositories to store their code. They will be working on the Git commands to actually push their code to the GitHub repository. All these will be dealing by the developers, and so that's why I have put these tools under the sorry under this development stage. And code quality analysis, that means sonar cube, which comes under this stage. And then building code, that means Maven will be building that code which is developed here in this stage. Or npm, I said, this will be performed using this Maven and npm tools. And artifact image, that means the Docker Hub tools will be covered in this. Deployment means CI/CD tools, all the CI/CD tools like Jenkins, Azure Devops, all these will be covered in this deployment stage. Also, along with that, we will learn few of the concepts like what are the stages or the environments that I was mentioning, like desired environments we will be deploying our applications, right? That will be mentioned here. And then Jenkins, what else, like deployment types, we will be seeing the concept of deployment types. And we will be seeing hot fixes and bug fixes, like any issues that I was mentioning, those issues we can say them as a bug fix or hot fix in the middle of the stages. And that will be proceeded to the next stage. So that we will be discussing in the Azure DevOps concept when we are dealing with. And we will be dealing with the Docker Compose, Kubernetes, Helm concepts, everything comes under this stage. And testing stage, we will be dealing with the Selenium pipeline. Monitoring means we will be working on New Relic concept, log analysis workspace concept, and the AKS, Azure monitoring concept. So we have taken a Prometheus instead of Prometheus Grafana. We have taken an alternate way is Azure Monitor, which is famous now. This will be monitoring the cluster, that means Kubernetes cluster. Okay. So all these till here, till Docker, will be comes under the continuous integration. And till deployment, I mean only the deployment will comes under the continuous deployment or continuous delivery. And this will be continuous testing, this will be continuous monitoring, we say. These are the terminologies that we say them together. Like, well, let's say when we are creating a pipeline, we should be knowing like in the CI pipeline what are the tools should be involved, in the CD pipeline what are the tools should be involved, and what are the steps to be performed in the CD pipeline, that we have to know, right? So for that reason I have divided them something like this. Like for testing, like what are the testing pipeline should have something like this, comes under continuous testing. And monitoring, that means post deployment, this pipeline will be there for monitoring purpose. So all these are divided something like this. And every stage or every phase will be automated using the scripting language. In our case we are using the shell scripting. So the all these are automated. Okay, that's how I have mentioned. So we are dealing with four projects, yeah, and covering all these tools. So I think I've already shared it to you, so you can go through them. Or after this, I will be sharing you this diagram also. Any queries as of now?
Hi.
Yeah, tell me.
I just want to know a quick question, like what exactly the term deployment means here. I mean, is it delivering the product or?
Yes. So yeah, you can imagine something like that only. Like the software is developed in the development stage, and that will be released to the ultimate or the production environment. Let's say see, we have an application, let's say Amazon is an application which is running on some servers in the back end. We know, everybody knows that, without any knowledge of IT also, without any knowledge of DevOps core tools also, everyone can say easily that some application is running on some servers, right? Those servers we can say as environments in our terminology. On that environment, these applications are running. How those are running? We are deploying them on those environments. We are deploying that package of the code to run that application on that environment. So that means the code which is built, we are placing them on that environment. Placing is nothing but a deploying. That means placing the built code which will be representing as an application on that desired environment or desired servers, and making them accessible by the end users is nothing but a deployment. You got it?
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Yeah. So don't worry, because there are so many terminologies that we have come across in this demo session itself, but it doesn't mean that you have to keep everything in mind right now in this class only, because every terminology again we are dealing with separately, and every session will you will be improving in every session. Like you will be getting to used with all these terminologies by, because by we will be seeing them practically, right? Like while practicing, while taking the classes, you'll be seeing them directly, so that it will be that indirectly and without any struggle only, it will be getting noted on in your mind, so it won't be any struggle. Okay. And there will be definitely a recording sessions available for us after every class, and the documentation of having all the definitions, purpose, usage, the live scenarios, examples, and everything, so there won't be any issue for you to actually get all these topics and terminologies. Okay. So yeah, that is about this workflow. If you don't have any more questions apart of this, then we can move again, get back to this PPT.
Yeah, hi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, does Ansible supports even Windows systems?
Yes, it will support like operating systems. It could be anything. Like we have to mention in the YAML files itself. Ansible, as I mentioned, Ansible in Ansible, we will be writing the YAML files, right? That in that YAML files, we will be defining like on which server, whether it could be Linux operating systems or Windows operating system. We will be mentioning that on which operating system you are going to change any configurations or update configurations. We will be mentioning them, and then we will be giving the tasks or the commands to actually execute those tasks on that particular Windows server or Linux server, it could be.
Okay, yeah, thanks for that. Just one
Mhm.
more curious question. It's like, so Ansible uses like SSH for the login, right? How does the Windows supports that?
So in the configuration, we will be setting that. I mean, in the whole, we will be naming it as a host servers. In that host servers, we will be configuring the connections between each server. That we will be getting into deep in the later sessions when
Okay,
we
good.
actually deal with Ansible. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you just remember that in the host of that Ansible only, we will be mentioning all the servers that we want to connect to from Ansible server. Here Ansible server is the main server, and those are the worker nodes. So we are going to connect those worker nodes or the worker servers in the host file of the Ansible.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Any more queries? Okay. So next one is, Yeah, so we are done with the syllabus and the workflow of this course, right? So now let's see like what are the benefits that we get after taking this course. Okay. So first thing is like a dual expertise in AWS and Azure, which I mentioned. Like we are dealing with the two service cloud platforms here, so we will be like a dual expertise in both of them. So there will be a lot of opportunities for you. And the real time project based learning. So as I've mentioned, like I will be bringing up the live scenarios and try to understand from the basics step by step, like how the real scenario will be, like how we are going to implement these tools in the real time, and everything will be explaining, so that will be like for you to understand it easily, and you can handle the real time project also based on those examples taken in the classes. And we will be adding the troubleshooting techniques also. Let's say yeah, one of the examples that you have mentioned, Ansible configurations with the worker servers, right? So if we face any issues in that, like we will be seeing all the troubleshooting techniques or the steps to actually resolve that issue. Whether it is resolved or not, it doesn't matter, but we will get to know that more concepts while actually dealing with the troubleshooting steps. We will be checking whether the Ansible is whether installed with the right version or not, whether it is compatible version with the other worker nodes or not. Everything we will be seeing as a step by step, being taking it as a troubleshooting steps, right? At that time, we will face many concepts like how we can find the check the version of the Ansible. We will get to know by seeing these steps or by following these steps. So, along with this resolving issue, we will also get to know so many concepts by using this troubleshooting techniques. Okay, that is an advantage. And interactive group discussions, just like we do it now, like same way in the classes also, we will be allocating some time to discuss between the team, so that if we face any issues while while practicing in on yourself, like if you're stuck anywhere, you can raise that point in the classes, in the next classes, or in the same class. If you raise any questions, we can discuss on it, and we can deal with it. Okay. And step by step learning approach, that means from basics to the advanced concepts we are going to deal. So it will be like everything will be step by step. I will be considering everybody as everybody, like from the non from having no background from the IT, just like that I will be considering. I know that most of the people will be coming from the IT industry only, but as we are dealing from the basics of the DevOps, right? Scripting language must be different, must be new to the most of the people, or networking concepts must be new. So all this we are dealing step by step. So the approach of the learning will be easier for everybody. So taking in consideration of everyone. So I'm designed this course in such a way, step by step. Okay. And as I mentioned, the documentation will be more in a structured way. Like it will be by seeing the documentation, and it won't be very much bigger documentation also. It will be um, I mean it will be like simple one only, in simple terms only. It will be it will be short only, but it will definitely cover all the topics which must be required for the interview and real time project handling purpose. And project workflow. So I have included four projects, right? So each project workflow I will be explaining from the basics, so that that means like how the why this project is actually created in this way, why are we designing it in this way, like why do we need those tools only, why are we aligned those tools from that to this, how we decided these tools to be there in this project. All this we are going to discuss, and we will be looking into the workflow of it, so that in real time also you can communicate with the team members by with this knowledge, mm, you can be transparent like with the team, like you can give some suggestions also to the higher authority of or team leads or whatever, whoever it is, like you can give your suggestions by having the knowledge of this workflow. Okay. And we will be having the live scenarios and real time project problem solvings, as I've mentioned earlier. And I will be adding the interview oriented question and answers in the end of the documentation of every topic, so that will be helpful for your interviews. So these are the benefits of this course. And yeah, all the possible possible concepts which I can add in this course I've added. If at all you have any doubts or any things that you are still, I mean still lagging here and I didn't add anything, if you think so, you can I mean without any hesitation you can add them. You can suggest me so that I can add them. So apart of that, let me move to the next slide, which are the highlights of this course. That means it would be 100% job assistance in terms of providing the question and answers, interview purpose, and providing the doubts clarifying sessions. And you can contact me anytime if you have any queries on topic wise or in interview wise. If you have any queries and all, you can always contact me. And understanding of internal DevOps team structure. So in this, along with this course, not right now, but along with this course I will be bringing up some topics like how the DevOps team structure would be in the real time, and how each team members of the DevOps will be working with the roles that they have given, I mean with the responsibilities that they have that the team members have provided to them. All those we will be discussing. And we will also be discussing the KT sessions, how it will be provided to the DevOps engineers, like when they actually get into the project, and whether it could be freshers or the experienced persons. How would the KT session will be differing to both of them? I will be mentioning in the course. And I will be mentioning the stand up calls for the DevOps team, how will it be, and if it is a tickets based project, then how the tickets will be assigned to them, and how you are going to deal with the tickets I'm going to mention. And I'm going to mention the sprints, what is sprints, and how the sprints will be applicable for the DevOps team especially, because the sprints might be in many uh, st- jobs like in IT industry, but how it is applicable for the DevOps team will be little bit differing. So I will be mentioning that also. And I will be providing the documentations on each topic which I have already mentioned. And candidates will be at last by having all these um, features that I'm going to provide, because comparatively in the market, like if you see, the course will be available anywhere, but the extra features in this course that I can confidently say is that in real time, whatever is there to deal with the project and to deal with the team, you have to have the extra added knowledge. Those are like by seeing just the architecture of the project, by seeing the KT session itself, and by seeing the documents provided by them in the name of the KT sessions, they will be directly giving the documentations. And they will start asking you to work on the tasks. And how you can talk to the stand up calls, and then sprint calls, how you can manage and all. I will be providing as a guidelines by the end of the course. So these are the extra added features or the highlights I can say. So by having all this knowledge, I am pretty much sure that the candidates will have a good and promising career. Okay, so those are the highlights of this course. And coming to the next slide, which is handovers. So I'm just trying to mention like what are the handovers that I'm going to provide you, like after by the end of this course, is like documents I'm going to provide. That means not along with the course, by the end, after finishing the last class of this course also, there might be some missing documents or the leftover documents, or any if I feel like any, because it will be like a long term course, like 2 to around 2 to 2.5 months. So there might be some topics which are required, which I feel like required for you to understand. I might be adding few topics in the previous document, so that I will be providing you at the end of the course. And I will be providing this PPT, and for you to just have it handy um, to recall all the topics whether you are covering or not while practicing and all. It will be helpful, this PPT. And you will be having the standard resume that I will be providing with all the possible points in it, so that you can personalize your own resume out of it. And you will be getting the recording sessions parallelly along with the classes itself. And you will be getting the projects that I am mentioning. I will be providing you that package also, that source code to your emails. So that those are the handovers. And the coming to the timings, like it will be like Monday to Friday sessions, and it will be around 2 to 2.5 months of the course. And the time will be like around 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. So it will be in the evening time. So again, I will be confirming the timings. But mostly it will be around 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. And sometimes based on the topic, it will be extended to 1 to 1.5 hour. That means it might be ending around 9:30. So you just make sure that you are available. And yeah, so those are the timings. And coming to the topic, because actually it's been already 1.5 hour now, and I am asking requesting you to just give me some your interest, whether you are interested to continue this session. I will be picking up one topic, and I will try to give a demo on that topic. I'll try to make you understand what it is all about, and I will give you a short demo on that, so that it will be helpful for both of us to understand that how effectively I can convey the information to you. And it will be helpful for me to understand your level of comprehension. Okay, so it will be taking 10 to 15 minutes of time. It will not take more than 10 minutes, I can say. So we can finish the demo of the web servers. Okay, then we will be after this demo we can end the call. So is that okay? Can you confirm me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so let me just start with what is web server, which I have already mentioned in the syllabus, right? Like the web servers will allow us to run or host the application. Okay, it's like a platform on which we will be hosting our application. That means we can access our application, which is deployed on the top of the web server. That is in a simple terms, I can say. And Apache Tomcat is something that is a is also a web server. This is one of the web servers in the market. That's it. This is one of the famous web servers in the market. So the main definition of the web server is it is hosting the application. That's it. So in our we will be taking one server, the AWS server we will be taking. On that AWS server, we are going to install the web server. This is like a software. We are going to install this software on the AWS server. On that software, we are going to run the application. That's it. But here we in this class we are going to just see what is the web server, what is the Apache Tomcat, and what is the purpose. So I have already told you like what is the web server, which is a software or a platform which will be hosting an application. And Apache Tomcat is one of the famous web servers in the market, and we are going to install this Tomcat on the AWS server, and we will make it ready to deploy the application. That's the purpose. So in this class we are going to just take the server, install the Tomcat server, and we'll make it ready, and we will see it whether it is accessible to us to deploy any application or not. Apart of that, in the course actual course, we will be actually getting into the deeper side of this Tomcat server. Like we will be seeing the configuration steps, and we will be deploying the actual application onto the Tomcat server, and we will be accessing that application using the Tomcat server IP address and the port number. But now I have divided it till here only. It's just for our testing purpose for both of us to understand each other. Just for that, I am just bringing up this topic. I'm not dealing with the configuration and all. This will be dealing again. We will be starting from the understanding of web server in the actual course. Okay, so that's all about web server. And this is the visualization. In visualization way, it will be very helpful for you to understand the structure of the Tomcat server that I am trying to mention. So we are taking the server in the AWS cloud. Let's say we are ready with one server, that's it. Okay, in that server we are going to install a software which is a web server, that is a Tomcat web server. This software will help us to run any application on top of it. And we can access that application using the server IP address and the port number of the Tomcat software. Okay. By if you type the IP address colon port number in any browser, if the application is already deployed on the Tomcat server, that will be accessed in the browser. You can see the application, let's say Amazon in that application is running on web server, let's say. And if you type IP address colon port number, you will be able to access the Amazon application. This is the hard the raw structure of the application running. but in real time we will have the DNS names replacing the IP address dot colon port number, right? That means the website name and all. That is a different topic we will discuss later, but as of now we are dealing till here only. That means we are bringing up the server and we are going to install the Tomcat onto it. So what is port number is nothing but it's a door. It's, let's say this is a software. We will be taking it as an example as a house. Let's say there is a house as a software, and we want to open that house to get into it. We in the sense application, let's say application wants to get into this software, right? Or that means deploying onto the software. So how it will open? It has a door called the port number. This port number will be unique for every house. That means every software on the server. Let's say it is Tomcat. Tomcat IP address is 8080. So there are other softwares will be installed on the servers, right? Like Ansible, Jenkins, and all. Every software will have unique port numbers to open that software. Port number is like a door to open the software and get into it, perform some tasks. Okay. So we will be having the IP address which is assigned while launching an instance or the server on AWS cloud, and then we will installing the Tomcat here. Okay, let me give a demo now right away quickly. For that, I need to open the AWS cloud to quickly install launch the server, and then we will install the Tomcat onto it. Okay. So don't look into the AWS dashboard. I mean, very deeply, because there is a lot to discuss on AWS dashboard. We will be starting from the sign up, and then we will see each and every concept again in the classes. But now we want some server. Here we are discussing only about the Tomcat installation, but for that we need some server, right? That's why I'm trying to launch a server now in AWS, but I am intended to show you the AWS dashboard or show you the launching the server, right? So that's not my intention. So for that, I'm quickly launching an instance. This instance, I'm naming it as what is it? Tomcat, because I'm going to install the Tomcat software in it. That means Tomcat web server in it. I am taking naming it as Tomcat just for our identification purpose. And I'm taking an Ubuntu operating system, which is a Linux operating system only. This is the flavor of the Linux operating system. We will again talk about this later. Now just remember that I'm taking a name called Ubuntu server, and yeah, this is the key. Like that means like to access that server, I'm selecting no key at all. Like I can directly connect to the server because this is for the demo purpose, and I'm adding the this. I'm going little bit speed because we are not actually focusing on creating the server now. Just I'm making the server ready for installation, Tomcat installation purpose. And I said like port number for Tomcat is 8080. That means to open the Tomcat service, I am opening the port number as 8080. From where we can open means from anywhere. That means 000 address I'm selecting. That means from anywhere we can open the Tomcat. It could be any browser or any user. So that's why I'm saying it as 000, and port number is 8080 for Tomcat, and description I'm giving it as Tomcat, and I have added that. Now I'm just launching the instance. Instance means server only here. The terminology in the AWS is the instance. So let me connect to that server once it is up and running. Now it is still in pending status. Once it is ready state, we can go select and try to connect to that server. We will be getting into the server, the actual server now. Then so meanwhile, we will open the documentation of the Tomcat installation. There are very few steps to install the Tomcat installation. I'll try to explain you that now because we are in wait stage to make that server up and running, right? So meanwhile, don't worry about the commands at all. Like these are the pre-built commands. First, we will be starting the commands, learning from the basics only, from the Linux only. But we are in the stage like where we are trying to understand each other, like how I can explain you and how you can grasp this, right? So that's why I brought one topic, that is a Tomcat server. For that, there are some pre-built commands to actually install that software. In Windows, how we will install? We will browse for some software, right? we will browse for it and we will try to install it, like we will download it and we will install that packages, right? Same way in Linux servers, that means we are taking the Ubuntu server as a flavor, right? In that we will not see anything in the GUI mode, that means graphical mode we will not see, everything will be run in the command mode only. That means just like the command prompt in Windows, we will be this server, when we connect it will be in the command mode only. So whatever the task is that we are performing in the Linux server, everything will be in the command mode only we have to perform. We cannot perform it in a GUI mode, that means graphical mode. For that reason, to install the Tomcats, we Tomcat software, we have some pre-built commands. First command is we will be executing one after one. So as I said, like we will be having the documentations, right? So in this documentation, I'm mentioning it as like installation and configuration of the Tomcat, and these are the steps to perform. First, we will be updating the server, okay, by this command, and then we will be installing the Tomcat software. Latest version is 9, so we will be installing it by this command. We are saying that soft server to install Tomcat. This is the command. Okay. After that, we are saving that in the environment variables. Like in Windows, if we download some packages, we will be saving it as an environment variables, right? In the path. Same way, we are going to save it in the path, whatever is installed. We are going to save it in this path. The path will be like in this file. Bash rc is the file. In this bash rc file, we are going to save the path of this Tomcat installation. Okay, once it is done, we are going to check whether it is saved or not as a path. To print anything in the Linux servers, we will be using the echo command. Again, we will be going through all these commands from the basics, but now just remember that echo command will be printing the path that we have saved in the earlier step in the bash rc file. After this, once the path is saved, once the installation is done, we are going to check whether the Tomcat 9 is status, whether it is active installed or not. Okay. Once it is installed, then once we see that is in active state, we are ready with the Tomcat software in our server. So we can access it by providing the IP address of the server and then colon, and then the port number of the Tomcat 9 is 8080 as I have mentioned. We can access it. Okay, that is the process. Now let's see like whether the server is up and running or not. And if it is running, then we will be connecting to that server and try to execute all these commands one by one by saying it why it is for, and we will see whether we are able to access the Tomcat 9 software or web server on our browser or not. Okay. So yeah, sorry. Let's refresh it and see if it is running. Yeah, it is running. Select that and try to connect from the cloud itself. So we are connected to the server now. We are in the mode of giving or providing the commands to the server so that it will execute the commands whatever that we have provided to the server. Now let's get back to the Word document and run these commands. What is this for? This is for updating the server first of all. Before actually installing any software, we will make sure that the server is up to date. Okay, this is the command for the Ubuntu servers. Apt is the command for the Ubuntu servers. So for every command, we start with the apt only. Okay, right click and click on the paste, then it will copy. So it is making sure running all the commands to make the server up to date, making every all the packages which are relevant ready for the next installations. Okay, everything is done now. Now let's go to the next command, which is sudo apt install Tomcat 9. That means installing the Tomcat 9 server, web server, onto our server, Ubuntu server. Okay, give s. Y means y s or not. If you want to continue, you click on y and enter. Yeah, now the it seems like the software is installed correctly without any failures in the previous step. So let's go and this is nano, I mean, in bash rc, this is the pre-built file wherein we will be adding the path of the installation. So to open this file we use the nano editor. This is a pre-built editor in the linux servers. Okay, in using this editor you can open the file and you can edit the file by adding the path. Okay, copy this, type sudo, that means giving the root permissions, that means complete administration permissions. If we want to execute any commands, we type it as sudo. Okay, that means we are the sudoer. And paste the remaining command, which is nano bash rc, to open the file. This is the bash rc file. And in the instructions of the tomcat 9 installation, what it is asking us to do is, in the end of the bash rc file we need to add the path. Okay, go back to the document, and end of the at the end of the file we need to add this line. So once it is added, if you type control x, that means you will be exiting out of this file, and type control x. After that, if you want to save the modifications, type y and then enter. So it is saved. Now if you want to see the path which is created, if you want to print that, echo dollar path, if you type, then it will, no, type sudo, it is asking for, and then paste. Sorry, it should be small e. Yeah, it is giving you the output saying that it is saved. The path which we have saved is which we have given in the, sorry, bash rc is saved. And sorry, next command is sudo systemctl status tomcat 9. So we have to check whether the tomcat 9 is up and running or not by seeing the status. So copy this. It is active by seeing this output in the command line. You can say that the tomcat 9 is active now. And to come out of this mode, to checking the status, means it will be getting into the mode, the checking status mode. So you need to come out to control c. If you type, you will be able to come out of it. Now you can perform any other task, any other commands. So we need to check, I mean, sorry, we need to, these are ignorable. These are for the other purposes. This will be covered in the later sessions. Now we will be restarting the tomcat 9. That means whatever the changes or the configurations that you have performed as of now in the bash rc files or whatever, that will be effectively worked on the tomcat 9 server when you restart it. Okay. So need to restart it. It is restarted, and you can check the status again after restarting. Yeah, it is still in active state only. So you can come out of it. Now the IP address of this server and the port number of the tomcat 9 is 8080, and the IP address you will be seeing it here. When you are connecting to the server, it will be provided the IP address here. So you copy that and give that IP address here in the browser, and colon you type, and then give the port number of the tomcat, and you should see the tomcat server is accessible for us in any, from any browser. Now we are using this browser, and try to see. Yeah, it is saying it is working. So that means if it is not configured properly or not in active state, it will throw some errors. So but here it is showing it works. That means tomcat, we have successfully installed the tomcat on the ec2 uh, server, that means ubuntu server from the aws cloud. Okay, from now onwards, on this server, as tomcat server is already running, we can actually deploy any application onto the tomcat server. The deployment part we are going to see in the later, I mean, after we start the classes, when we come to the tomcat concept, we will be discussing how we deploy the application onto the Tomcat. I mean, that means deploying means placing the package of the code of any Java application code. We will be placing it in the right place of the Tomcat paths. We have many paths which are there in this installation, right? So we need to identify in which path that package has to be placed. That means deployed. From then, if you in same way, if you type this, once the deployment is done, any application deployment is done, if you type IP address colon 8080 port, it will not show you this Tomcat result. It will show you the application directly, because the application is deployed, no? So that will be showing you or accessing the, you will be able to access the application directly instead of showing this. This will be in the backend running in the backend, but in front end you will be able to see the application running and accessible. Okay, that's how it works. And yeah, so that's all about the web servers, Tomcat web servers, and how we can install it on the EC2 server. Any queries on this, or any queries or questions out for the whole demo session? If you have, you can raise. Is it understandable?
Yes.
Okay, so I will take it as yes. So now, yeah, if we don't have any questions, then I think I should be thanking you for attending this demo session today. And I will be definitely appreciating your interest and enthusiasm towards this demo session and towards the DevOps course. And I will be definitely looking forward for you and welcoming you for the upcoming classes. So, yeah. So, if you don't have any further questions, then I will be seeing you in the class. So,
Thank you.
yeah, one thing is that the classes will be starting on the 30th of this month. Yeah, so that's one of the informations which I haven't included as of now. Yeah, part of that, if you don't have, then I'll be seeing you in the class. Yeah, hope everybody feel that this is useful session. And yeah, thank you everyone, and good day and good night. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Good day. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.